Homesteading is often seen as something you do by yourself. But what happens when doing it all yourself starts to wear you down? Do we take independence too far without interdependence to balance it out? Today, let's talk about finding the balance between self-sufficiency and community. Welcome to Simply Living Homestead, where we empower homesteaders and preserve traditions. I'm your host, Amanda Carlin, and I help homesteading families bring peace and order to their lives. My friend, are you overwhelmed with all the tasks on your homestead? Do you wish for a mentor to guide you through the tough moments each day? Then you've come to the right place. Together, we will learn to organize our homestead, love our families well, and walk in the peace of God. If you're ready to get unstuck from the constant feeling of overwhelm, then join us each week as we explore practical advice, inspiring stories, and heartfelt encouragement to help you thrive. Let's grow a sustainable, meaningful life together, both in the home and on the homestead. If you're enjoying the podcast, I'd love if you take a moment to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps more homesteaders find us. And don't forget to join our newsletter for monthly farm updates, behind-the-scenes stories, and some of our favorite homestead recipes. Just head to simplylivingHomestead.com or click the link below to get signed up. Are you in Central Iowa? Are you looking for raw milk? Simply Living Homestead has open subscriptions for fresh raw milk here at the beginning of May. If you haven't already, I encourage you to get signed up for our wait list so that you will be notified as soon as openings are opening up. We're rolling some out every couple of weeks here until the cows have all given birth, and so click the link below to get signed up for our wait list for fresh raw milk. Welcome back to the homestead. I have been thinking a lot about the homesteading community and the term self-sufficiency. I don't really like the term self-sufficiency. In a world where everyone values independence and not asking for help, it troubles me when homesteaders use the same language, and often it means the same thing as everyone else when they say, I want to be independent. We can often see the people outside the movement of homesteading as too dependent on a system that's let countless of us down, and we desire to step away from it by growing our own food or raising animals or something. We try and cut as many ties to the standard food chain as possible, but in our drive to free ourselves from this dependence on complete reliance of someone else, we often swing completely in the other side of the spectrum. Today, let's redefine self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency doesn't mean isolation. It means taking responsibility where you can, but also knowing your limits. Think of it as interdependence. You bring your strengths, and others bring theirs. So how can we go about doing this? If you've listened to my podcast for long, you will know I grew up on a family compound community of sorts. We have 3 houses on the property. I moved onto the property when I was 6 with my family. And so I grew up beside my great aunts and my grandparents and all of my siblings. We didn't have any cousins. And then the church community was pretty close. Both in like geographic and, at least in the discussion of how we were supposed to take care of each other. And if everyone is working together, you can really play into the strengths of each person. When there's someone ill, everybody else can pick up the slack. And, we can really play into that, that give and take that, is there. When we try and do everything without support, we're very likely to face burnout. A little note here is technically that's what socialism says that it wants to do, and that's what communism is, where it's everybody is equal. And I am not supporting that here. That is not what I'm talking about here. Everyone is not equal. There are strengths that everyone can bring, and when everyone is willing to work on that, it's going to work really well. It is a biblical setup. But sin and human nature and those sorts of things really cause that system to break down. It's not a very sustainable system because of who we are as humans. But if we can lay aside our selfishness, there are things that we can take from a movement like that and go, there's some good things here. There's also some bad things. So as we get into this, just know that I'm not speaking about communism. I am not speaking about the extreme socialisms where everyone has to get equal things, because that's not how this works. What we are going to be talking about more today is if you have your homestead and I have my homestead and the third person over here has a homestead, it will kind of really wear down ourselves if we're all trying to do everything. But if we can kind of, I'm really good at animals. I love taking care of animals. I love working on that. My husband does not. And if we were two separate homesteads, for example, I might want to go get a bunch of my veggies from him and trade it for meat, because I'm going to spend more time on my animals and less on my veggies. And in that case, he'll get meat and I'll get veggies, and we'll both really be happy at the end because we're playing into our strengths. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about today, is how can we truly be a community? How can we really work into this, helping each other out? So if we do try and do everything by ourselves without support, we're going to face burnout. And what we're going to talk about mostly is that support. So first off, warning signs of burnout. If you are facing this right now, you feel like you should be doing everything. You're guilty asking for help. And you're comparing your homestead to someone else's highlight reel on their social media. Physical signs of burnout is physical exhaustion, disconnection, and dread around daily tasks. I completely understand what burnout feels like. Just before spring truly hit, I was sitting in the doctor's office and I broke down crying in the doctor's office. Not even the therapist's office, mind you, the doctor's office. And she's like, Amanda, I think you have burnout. I think that's what it is. And, when I stepped back from that, I think she was right. I was trying to do everything. I was trying to do too much without pacing myself and taking advantage of what, should have been help around me. There is power in asking for help. Asking isn't a weakness, it's an invitation. And when we can get out of our heads and set our minds to this isn't a bad thing, we will get a whole lot further. In asking for help, being specific is kind to the people around them. It is very helpful. Can you watch the goats while we're away this weekend is a lot easier than can you help sometime? Saying, hey, I would really appreciate help with this. You can leave it open-ended for timeline. Something that we've dealt with in our personal lives is demand avoidance, where if it sounds like someone's forcing you to do it, you don't want to do it. And so we've really learned the art of asking open-ended specifics, which sounds a little weird, but there is something to it where you ask for something specific, but maybe you don't put a timeline on it. Just, hey, I'd really appreciate if you could, run a load of laundry sometime. I'm running out of clothes. If just whenever you have time, if you could run a load of laundry, that kind of eases it up and we can put it into our schedule a little bit better than, oh my goodness, I gotta drop what I'm doing and go help you. So, you can always start with practicing low stakes asks, right? Where in the example of, hey, can you run a load of laundry? If it doesn't get done, well, then the clothes are just dirty for another day, right? It's a fairly low stakes ask, and that can kind of build up your tolerance to even being able to ask for help. So now let's get into building community organically, not just within your family, but from, your friends and your neighbors and your church friends, family, whatever. Let's start with small, consistent connections, like offering extra produce or swapping chores once a month. I've often heard of that, like even just among young moms, young families, like sometimes it's really hard to get a babysitter, but if you can like find a friend and go, hey, I'll watch your kids one night a month and you can watch my kids one night a month and we'll swap, and the couple can then go do something. And you're not doing things together as a couple, but you are helping and assisting each other. You can host a seasonal work day or a potluck, even at your home. The community that I'm part of, like, potlucks feel like a very church thing. But potlucks where everyone just brings a dish is such a lovely way of gathering. Sometimes you get to try other people's favorite foods. In the community that, I'm a part of, a lot of times people try new dishes because if it's not great, at least there's enough people that it'll probably get eaten, and then you don't have like leftovers on something that may be iffy. And I know that sounds terrible when you say it, but it's just kind of this culture of grace where like, oh, there's food on the table. This is often awesome. People love helping when they're invited into something bigger than themselves. There's just something about human nature that really beckons to that whole idea of being part of something. And, hey, we got a big field of hay to do. We'll give you some hay if you come help. Or we're picking apples, can you come help us? You can go home with some apples if you want. And that often will be able to get a big task done in an easier, manageable way. And if you start doing that and then, giving something in return and not just using their help, they'll do the same a lot of times. It might take time, but you kind of have to start building that culture if it's not normal in your area. Think barter and gift economics, trading eggs for babysitting, sourdough for fence mending, whatever feels appropriate in the, it might not be appropriate for one family to trade 3 days worth of field harvesting for 2 loaves of bread, right? That might not be a fair exchange, but there might be something that is a better value for, what we're trading. I once traded some hay bales, some big round hay bales, so we didn't have to pitch hay, for a chicken. One of my friends had butchered chickens, and I think they traded me 3 whole chickens for a round bale of hay. And that was an appropriate trade. We agreed on that trade. We went, yeah. She's like, I don't need the chickens. I don't need the hay. And so we swapped. And it was a fair trade. And someone might go, 3 chickens for a bale of hay. If you look at them next to each other, it doesn't look fair. But we felt it was fair. And so when you're working with your neighbors and stuff, finding out what feels fair to you is often a great way of going about that. You can create sustainable systems with others. Consider shared responsibilities, a neighbor's rototiller, a communal chicken processing day, a tool library, things that you can do to really benefit the community. We are slowly establishing our Homestead library. If you want to learn how to do something, chances are we have a book on it. But then there's friends that have access to things. We borrow trailers from friends all the time. And sometimes we pay them, sometimes we barter something with them, sometimes, we'll catch you next time, and, then we do something for them. It kind of just depends on the situation. You can always form or join a local homesteader circle for skill sharing, problem solving, and encouragement. It's always a blessing when you have that local kinship of people that kind of are doing the same thing as you. And when you consider how many people can grow food, the circle of homesteaders, it's growing It's growing, but it's not very big. And so building that community and welcoming people into your circles, that growing number of, hey, we kind of want a homestead. And like welcoming them in and going, yeah, like, so I've got a tool, like, we've loaned our rototiller out multiple times because, well, it's a big piece of equipment for someone that's not going to use it a lot. So it's just kind of those things that as you like build off of each other and learn to do that. I have this dream, and I don't know that it will truly ever happen, but if you look at the Amish community, if they have a building burned down, more often than not, that building has been rebuilt within a week or two. And I realize some of that has to do with not having insurance, but how do they do that if they don't have insurance? Well, they all pitch together. Like, there are so many men, and then all the women are like, some of the women are helping with moving things and carrying things, but a lot of the women are then just working really hard to feed all of these people. And I would love if the homesteading community could really become this super vibrant community where when there are pains, when there are problems, when there are like disasters, there are people in your community, in your circle, even if they're not like close to you, even if they're not that kind of person that you're going to sit in your living room and have a deep conversation with, there are people that are going to drop everything and come and help you like mend that which is broken. And that I feel like is a great example of Christ and the community as like a Christian community as a whole. And I would love to see the homesteading community, all the people that are, really striving for this sustainability and self-sufficiency, also embrace this, interdependence on one another, that, we're there for each other and supporting each other. Some things that I have 3 mindset shifts as we finish up here. You don't have to do it all to be a real homesteader. We are created for connection, not just production. Community makes the work lighter and the joy deeper. As we close today, I want to leave you with this thought. You don't have to do it all. You were never meant to. Homesteading may begin with growing your own food, but true sustainability grows from community. Relationships rooted in mutual support, shared wisdom, and the simple beauty of showing up for one another. Self-sufficiency isn't about shutting others out. It's about knowing where your strengths lie and being humble enough to lean on others when you need to. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. If this episode challenged or encouraged you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend or leave a review. If you're feeling burned out or unsure how to find your people, send me a message at connect@simplylivingHomestead.com. I'd be honored to hear your story and maybe troubleshoot with you. Let's keep redefining what it means to live simply and live well together. Well, neighbor, before you head out, I just want to say how much I've loved spending this time with you. If you too enjoyed our time together, don't forget to give us a follow and leave a quick review on your favorite podcast player. It really helps more women like us find their way to a simpler, more joyful life. And hey, if you know someone who'd enjoy this episode, why not share it with them? Let's keep growing this circle of encouragement together. Oh, and don't forget to join my email list. I've got some free printables and weekly tips waiting for you to help you live a purposeful, balanced life, one rooted right in the heart and home. Thanks for being here, friend. You're doing a great job. I can't wait to chat again next week here at the Simply Living Homestead.